Guys, and welcome. I'm John, and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. This is the weekly Wednesday Warhammer / Wargaming questions and answers. This is an off-the-cuff video. What that means is I record it, upload it. There's no editing involved. So if something happens, I can't help it. Right. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome guys. Sit back and enjoy. This is the Wednesday video is all to do with model focused and materials, paints, any little sneaky things that we learned, anything to do with models. You ask me questions, I answer. There's a train build the rest of the week, like during the week, which I'll post up, and I actually finished this week's one. Just need to edit it probably tomorrow and send it out tomorrow. So those of you that are here for that, that'll be up tomorrow, hopefully. Right, question that I have is, I've also models on eBay and they're on the wrong size bases. What's the best way to rebase them? Okay, there's a few things you do here, but let me show you. This guy here, okay, see the size of his base. This is the size it should be on. Okay, you can clearly see there's a difference. There's a big, massive difference between the two. Me and my youth stupidity, 32 Marauder Warriors, and put them on the smaller bases, which would be goblin size base. So I put them into one unit. So recently I've been rebasing them and putting them on bigger units to put them on a bigger base to put them on size unit. Yeah, still on squares because this is Warhammer Fantasy Battles, not for AOS. But I'm going to show you how to rebase it now. So first thing you do, now you can take a sharp blade and go just between the feet and the base and cut that off, yeah, and then do the same outside, but you have to work your way through it. The problem with that is you're then having to sand the feet to make them flat again, because they're not going to be flat when you take them off. The second problem is when you take one leg off, the base is going to be attached to the other foot, so the base is going to be like not springy, but there's not going to be much movement in the base to get into the other foot, and you're more likely to put pressure onto the knee of the second foot that you're trying to cut off and it'll snap. Okay, if it does that, take the leg off, glue it back together, glue it back to the base. It's not a big issue, but you'd rather not go to that point. So this is the easy way of doing it. You take clippers, and what you want to do, okay, snip just on that corner there. See it? Yeah, just snip it out. Snip the other corner. Okay, now you've got that little flap. You can snip up the middle. Okay. So got one cut at the corner here, one cut in the middle, and one cut the other corner. And then you just want to literally grab it from an angle across the top, yeah, of the base and snip down. So you basically see, let me see if I've got 1 second guys. So you basically can see how I've taken it off, yeah? Just snip the corner, snip the corner here, corner there, the middle, and then just snip it from the top. So now I've just taken a good piece off the side, yeah? So that's I just improvised with it with the plate there. I use that plate for my airbrush just to get the paint flowing through. Anyway, you do the same the other side, but what you want to do, I've just butted, I'm going to butt this clipper, the flat edge, up against the front of the foot, okay? I'll try and give you a shot of that. Okay, I don't know if you see, because the foot's half hidden, and then I'll snip down, okay? So now, I'm taking this corner out as well. Snip away again, straight edge, butt up against his toes, basically. So it's not going to snip into it, because it's just... Now, get my little whitener. Now you can see, let me spin around. Oh, come on, there's the angle. You see the top, yeah, where I've cut it off. Okay, so if I put it down flat like this with my big gigantic fingers out the way, what the hell am I doing? This way. No, yeah, you can see it. Yeah, you see the bottom of it? It's all jagged and not straight. But what you want to do is repeat the same process in the other corner. But with this model, his foot has come to the back of the base, so I have to be careful there. So what I do is I do the side bit first, but I'll butt the side of the clipper up against the side of his foot, okay? And then try and come into the other foot without taking too much. Now all I've got is one side left. Again, butt the edge of the clipper, the straight bit, up against. Don't clip it over the top so it hits his foot. You want to clip it, you want to put it just before and then move it up so it bounces off his foot. Now, that's what I have. A flat piece of base with a model sitting on top. Okay, so what we do then, take super glue. You can use polycement glue, just, you know, hot glue even. It's not a problem. What you're going to do is, you're not going to put it on. The doors are closed on me. You bastard. I'm going to put the super glue on there, onto the base. It's got a bit weird because the door's closed. Sorry guys. Take the model and I'm going to glue him. Now this is a slot base that I'm actually gluing onto, so it's actually handy. There's a little flat piece on there. That's one model rebased. It's as easy as that. Now, when it's dry, super is dry and everything else, you want to gravel on it, you want to texture it, you want to do whatever you normally do to your models. You want to hide the original flat piece of base that it was sitting on. Now this is on a slot base. What's a slot base, you're going to say to me? A slot base is the very old, see the slot in the middle? That's very old GW style, where the model used to have, the lead models used to have a little bar between the legs on the feet, underneath the feet, so that bar would slot into there, so the models would be sturdy on in there with some super glue. But that's easy to fill because you just put some PVA glue there, just keep running it across the hole. And eventually you will seal the hole, and then when you put your gravel on or your flux or whatever, it will just seal it up. Now, as you see, that's a model that's half painted. So when I put gravel on mine, as you guys know, so when I put gravel on there, this goes back to what I was saying last week about the black paint, where I wore it down a little bit. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. But then I could use that as a black wash over the gravel when it's dry. Okay, so there's no spray involved, there's nothing. So I'm not going to mess up any paint job. Now, with that said, if I bought this model off eBay and I wasn't happy with the painting on it, I can strip it down. No plastic into white spirit, as I've shown you guys already. Or sonic cleaner if you're fortunate enough to have one, or jewellery cleaner I think now as well. Now, 7 minutes already. I do talk on too much. Now, there was another question on here with, I play Fantasy Battles, square bases. I'm getting some reinforcements, they're on round bases. What's the best way to fit them in? Basically, buy yourself some square bases. Green Stuff World, hobbymad.ie if you live in Republic of Ireland. There are some places, if you're in England, there are a good few places that you can buy square bases from. Buy them in a bag. If they're not open, you can't get to them, or they can't post, they can't post it because of COVID or whatever, there's no one there to do it. Here's what you do. You get yourself a piece of foam board and cut your squares. Okay? Now you're going to say to me, well, but it's not going to be strong enough, and I glue them on, it's going to be all. Here's what you can do. Now if you're a young viewer, you need to get someone to do this for you, because it's, you know, it involves a chemical. What you want to do is get yourself a glass jar. Get yourself some nail polish remover that contains acetone. Okay? You put that nail polish remover into the glass jar, fill it up. You get your sprue, bits of you know, left over from your clipping your models out the sprue, put them all in that, fill it up. You want to fill it up to a point where the liquid is just sitting above the sprue bits. Now what happens is that'll melt 24 hours, so maybe, you know, just a bit longer than that. It'll melt into like a really gooey, I don't know what to describe it, but it's a really gooey substance. Get a spoon, grease piece of paper. You scoop a piece out, you put it down onto the spoon. Now it's very, very gooey, very sticky. When I say gooey, it's not going to run off the spoon. It reminds me of tar. So it doesn't want to come off, but it can come off. It's really weird substance. Like its chemical reaction is really weird. Then what you do is you get another piece of grease-proof paper and put it over the top. Get yourself a rolling pin and you'll roll it down. Okay, so it goes flat as possible. Okay, here's where the good part comes in. So you get a piece of your foam board, which is square. You put it on top, let that dry for a little while. Put it on top. Actually, I think you should let that dry for 24 hours. You'll figure out. I haven't done it, but I know how it works. You put your foam board bit on top, the square. You cut around it. You take that bit of plastic. That's plastic now, square plastic. You then super glue that or hot glue it, whatever, to the bit of foam board. Okay. Now you can glue your model on top of that, and off you go. Well, what I would do is do the same thing on the other side. So essentially, you got two thin bits of plastic with foam board in the middle. Okay, so if the foam board starts compressing down, it's got two bits of plastic. It's fine. And you glue your model on top of it, grabbing it, painting it, whatever. Okay, there is another thing you can do and actually have the models on the ground basis. So you can play them in fantasy or play them for iOS. Okay, what you do is you get a piece of foam board. Okay, for the site. In fantasy, you used to move your units around in ranks. You know, a big block rank. If you saw the Children of Chaos video, my Army of Chaos, you would have seen everything ranked up nice. That's how they used to move around. But you used to have movement trays. So you get a piece of foam board, cut it to the size you need. Okay, you get another piece of foam board, same size, and then you put your models on the round bases on top of one board. Draw random, okay, all 15 or 20 of them, and you want to cut those circles out. Now you've got a piece of foam board with loads of circles in it, but you glue that board to the other board same size. Now you've got a movement tray to put your models into on round bases to move around. Okay, the reason I know about that is because back in the day, when they first brought out Lord of the Rings, everyone was going crazy for it. And they really building big armies very quickly. And it got to the point where people wanted to play the Plains of Gondor, I think it is, the Battle for Minas Tirith, basically. But they didn't want to move 2,000 orcs. Or, you know, so what they done was Games Workshop come up with the War of the Ring rules and had rank and file. And that's the same concept, because Lord of the Rings models are on their basis. So you'd have the same concept of, you know, with the AOS stuff. The exception is you could play AOS or you could play fantasy. All you got to do is that. Now when you make the board, I would paint the whole thing black first of all. Okay. And then if you're going to add any texture between the circles, then, you know, go for that. But if you're going to do that, I would say to you, get a bit of filler mix and just run it over to give you the texture. Not into the circles, but just around between the circles. And with the circles themselves, once you've cut them out, I'd get a bit of fine grit sandpaper and just give the edges a little sand. You want it to be maybe a millimetre or two wider than it should be. Okay, so the models you're not putting them in there on the bases and they're like a plunger trying to get out. They're actually just in and out nice and easy. Something else you could do with that as well is have your front rank, yeah, with your standard command group and all that, and have a second rank sort of offset from the first. Yeah, and then the third rank be in line with the first rank, and then the fourth rank in line with the second rank. So when you're looking at the unit, it's all, yeah, models. The front models it's like that. You got the front models, and the back models behind it like that. Then the ones behind that are just slightly out more, and it just makes the unit look bigger and better. Not only that, the way the AOS are very dramatic poses, you'll have space to have models with their arms out and stuff like that. That's one problem we had with fantasy, where the models' arms were coming out too far, and you had to try and, it was a puzzle trying to rank them up. Okay, if you check out, I know hobbymad.e has it. They're foam cutters, they're called. I think they're called foam cutters. They are basically circular metal circular bits. I think there's a blade on one end, and it's the same as you know when you're making cookies and stuff and you use the dough cutter to make the cookie bits. It's like that, but they're done to the model size basis, so you can actually use them into the foam. And I believe you just put it on, twist it in, and it just pops out a perfect circle, which is great. I'm going to be ordering some of those for a later project that I have coming up that I'll be using, and when I get them, I'll probably do a video on how to do what I've just spoke about. So, you know, don't panic, guys. At the moment, because of COVID, no one's playing games. So if they are playing games, it's with someone that doesn't care if it's on a round basis or square basis. Doesn't matter. It's just, you know, I know myself, it's only for your own personal benefit if it's on a ranked up nice and all that business. Or what you could do, just thought of this, what you could do, get a piece of weatherboard, that's what I base the terrain on, but cut it square. So you're going to cut it in a way that it's sort of square, but makes up the first 2 ranks of a unit. You'll take your 10 models from the box, clean and glue them up, and you glue them straight onto the weatherboard. So that's essentially a block of 10 guys. You do it in a block of 5 if you want to, but it's a block of 10 guys, 10 guys. You paint them all up, gravel the base, and all that business. So when that unit takes wounds, I don't use taking 5 wounds. So it's still got all the models there, but there's a little die saying 5 wounds, or a little token saying 5 wounds. When it's taking 10 wounds, then you're taking 1 big block away from the back. Okay, that's another way of doing it. That's good. That's a little bit like Kings of War, I think the game's called. That's good, but the problem is it's not the same as the making the foam movement tray, because you can only play it for, you can play Kings of War, I think that's what it's called, but you can't play it for Fantasy and AOS, whereas that way you can. So guys, I'm running on 16 minutes now. If you like this video, please hit like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. And I'll have the train build edited hopefully tomorrow. I've got a few things on in the morning, but hopefully I can get it done in the afternoon. Guys, until next time, take it easy. I'll see you later.